All right, Jet fans, it's Monday. It's Victory Monday. What a wild freaking game we got to witness, man. If we could only play teams that come from Ohio, whoo, baby, we'd be the best team there ever was, let me tell you. We're 2-0 against these Ohio teams. You got a Cincinnati team, you got a Cleveland team. We beat them both. But unfortunately, those are the only two teams in that state. The other team that's close to that state, Pittsburgh, we almost beat them. 60-yard field goal, god damn it. But anyways, let's so the game is over. We all watched it. It was fantastic. I mean, not really. It was interesting. The defense showed out all right with the sacking and all of that. The passing game, oh boy. And we can run the ball. If we could ever get some good quarterback play, holy smokes, look out. Uh, so we'll have to see about that. But we also want to take a look at our PFF grade. So it's evaluation time despite these 2 wins. It's still an evaluation year for things going forward. And we have all these draft picks and we got to get the quarterback and all of that. So who's going to stay here? Who's not going to stay here? One of the things we look at is the PFF grades, just to see how those stat nerds are viewing our players. It's not the Bible or anything, but people do use them. We need to know about them, and we're going to go over them right now. For example, one thing that PFF says is that we're the 18th best team in the league. Wrong. We're 18th highest grade? What? Now, one thing, so these things are just wildly inconsistent, I would say. But one thing they do say that's right, we do have an elite special teams, 90.46th best in the league, 90.4. There's a lot of teams this year on this list so far that are above 90. That's just kind of crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 teams over 90 on special teams. The hell's going on in special teams this year? I don't know. But we're 6th in the league, and we've certainly seen that with our eyes, right? So that's good. And our offense is coming off as average on here, but that's also because of a lot of Garbaggio time. And then our defense, it's also coming off as average-ish. I don't know. But we'll take a look. Let's see what happened. One of the things that we want to take a look at for this game that we said is, how is our young offensive line, especially Membu, Fashanu, and Tipmanu, these people, how are they going to do? Well, on offense, Joe Tippmann had the highest grade of everybody. Right guard, so he had probably his best game as a guard. I personally think maybe he should go back to center, but we'll see about that. But this game, he killed it. 73.6 grade, 60.8 pass blocking, 1 penalty. But more importantly, how would the tackles do? Because don't forget, the Browns have a hellacious front. They have Myles Garrett. They got Mason Graham. They got Malik Collins. They have all these people all over the place. Ferocious front, and Jim Schwartz as the DC. So it was going to be a very what do you want to say? A good test of these dudes. How'd they do? Well, Membu held his own, 69.3. He didn't dominate, but you're not going to dominate Myles Garrett. Hello. And how'd Olu do? 63.4. Would have liked to seen a little better, but I think that's pretty encouraging. Tippmann, Membu, Fashanu, they're coming back next year. Obviously, that's our young core on the offensive line, and they held up against a ferocious, hellacious defense. And it was raining, which I think makes their job even harder. Remember, in pass pro, they have to do their job going backwards. So, and now try doing it backwards in the rain against Myles Garrett. Hello. Good luck. But they held up okay. So I think that's really good news. Max Mitchell got in for 9 snaps. Simpson has been disappointing. He only got a 59.7 grade on this game. And then one of our absolute worst players was Josh Myers. So depending what you want to do with Tippmann, we either need a center and a guard or 2 guards. But Josh Myers, if we want to sign him as a backup, fine, but he can't be starting for us anymore. Not after next year, nope. No, sir. And the eye test was similar to this as well. He also had a penalty. Justin Fields was our worst rated player, 45.7. No bueno. Obviously, we need a quarterback. And now, Simpson, you might want to bring him back. I love John Simpson as a person. I think he's great for the team. One thing you might want to do is bring Simpson back, keep Tippmann there, and just draft a center, thinking, well, a center we could get in the 4th round. You know what I mean? If you have to go for a guard and you want a really good one, well, the kid from Penn State's going to go in the 1st round or maybe the 2nd. And then there's another kid from Oregon they're talking about. He's probably a 2nd rounder too. So now you got to spend a 2nd round pick on a guard. Whereas if you keep Tippmann at guard and let's say you sign Johnny Simpson, now all you need is a center. Maybe you can get him in the 4th round and spend your other picks on other premium players. So that'll be interesting to see what they do. But this was an interesting challenge because it's not the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals had the worst defense in football, and Hendrickson was in the game, but then he got knocked out by John Simpson. Then he complained about it like a little pussy. But the point is that the Bengals, are the worst defense in the league, and the Browns are very, very, very good, especially in the front. So this would be a much bigger test for these players. And they did very well. So I think that is very encouraging. Now on defense, McGregor graded high, but only 10 snaps. Sherwood, great game, 80.9. Nice. Malachi Moore, 74.5. And the interesting thing about Malachi, started at safety, then had to go to nickel when we had an injury to Azareye'h Thomas with a concussion. Quincy Williams for his brief benching. All right, take a look at this. Quincy Williams briefly benched, right? He comes in, he had a sack, we all saw that. He had a grade of 70.8 and a 72.2 coverage grade, and his missed tackle rate was down to 16.7. You say that's not great. Yeah, but that's probably around average for linebackers. He was up around, for the season at 23%, and that's why he got benched. I think. We don't know exactly, but that's what I think. He said the coaches said he's been underperforming. Yeah, when you miss 23% of your tackles, you're underperforming. So he got that. So he only missed 1 tackle in this game, according to PFF. 16.7% missed tackle rate. That's better, okay? And we saw he got his snaps up to his normal snaps after he got a little bit of a benching in the beginning of the game. So hopefully he's back to where we want him to be, and if he performs this way the rest of the year, then we can safely sign him to a 2-year deal or what have you, and prevent creating yet another hole in the roster that we then got to go fill. Would like to see him perform at a high level, sign him to an extension, and let's go. Juwan Briggs, 69.2. Jermaine Johnson, 65.5. 5 pressures, according to this, and 1 sack. Will McDonald, 65.4, 7 pressures. That's a lot in one game. And by the way, Juwan Briggs had 6 pressures. That's amazing. That's a hell of a game from Juwan Briggs. Man, what a great trade that was. And that's another thing we're optimistic about is all these trades that Muji's made since he has gotten his front office together. I mean, 6 pressures for a defensive tackle, that's fantastic. So good job, Juwan Briggs. Will McDonald, 7, but not only did he get the pressures, he got the sacks. 4 sacks. You got to love it. Brandon Stevens, 64.6. He's been solid, not, elite or anything. Stiggers, Harrison Phillips, 63.5. Jay Tufele, 63.4. Tony Adams, 59.5. Not that great. And then everybody else coming in lower. Mozzie Smith, newcomer, did get 20 snaps. His first game, not going to put too much emphasis on it. Jarvis Brownlee, as we all know, didn't play well. Too many holding penalties. He did apologize via social media. You got to get your hands off Jarvis. And you know that's been a problem for you since Tennessee days. So let's look at the blocking and let's look at pressures allowed, efficiency. So Max Mitchell gets 100%. That's as best as you could do. John Simpson got 100% efficiency pass blocking. So his problem was run blocking in this game. Joe Tipman, 96.9. Membu, 96.9. That's kind of average-ish. Olu, 93.7. That's not great. Josh, 93.7. Also not good. So I'd say, but, if you look at Fashanu's grade, 93.7, he allowed one sack and one pressure. So, you know, that's going to happen. One of them was Miles. I remember it in my head. Miles just went right around him. And Garrett's going to get you. What are you going to do? The guy's a freak. So I would say pretty encouraging, not terrible. At least they didn't get horrible grades and get totally abused. That's what we were worried about. So I would say some good stuff coming out of here. If we could just get some quarterback play, we'd be all right. Fields was 6 for 11, 54.5%. No bueno. One turnover-worthy play, no big-time throws. Time to throw, 2.82. He didn't scramble around much. Nothing really to see here. Overall grade for Fields, 45.7. I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say it's Fields for the Thursday night game. Then after the mini bye is probably going to be Tyrod the rest of the year. At some point, we have to try to get some professional, some professional running of the offense to where the defense has to play at least some kind of balance. You heard Coach talking today in the press conference about there's a lot of teams running cover zero against us, just putting everybody in the box. Well, number one, you could run a little more screens against that. You could run some quick hitters. You could run some quick games, some nice slants, some things to beat that. But then you also need someone who can just sort of game manage the offense a little bit and get some of our playmakers the damn ball in space. I mean, geez. Been very disappointing. We were hoping that Fields was going to continue his ascension from the Pittsburgh days, but the Pittsburgh days were a small sample size, remember? And so it was a gamble. We rolled the dice, didn't work out. Well, now we're going to look to the draft. All right, that's it as far as these PFF grades. The big headline is the key offensive linemen who are definitely coming back next year played very well against a ferocious front. That's what you need to know. All right, I'll see you next time.